relief. All right, looks like we're live. You tell us when you're ready, Amy.
Okay. Yep.
Good?
We're good.
Okay. All right, we will call this meeting to order and begin by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's have a brief moment of silence, please, for the Portage County residents who lost their lives this week battling the COVID-19 virus. Our thoughts are with their families and their loved ones at this difficult time. Thank you. Let's recess into solid waste.
Move to approve the minutes of September 10, 2020.
I will second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicki,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move to approve the September 17, 2020 bills as presented by the county auditor.
Second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicki,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move to approve the September 17, 2020 journal vouchers as presented by the county auditor.
Second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicki,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move to approve the September 17, 2020 then and now certification as presented by the county auditor.
Second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicki,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes. I'll move to adjourn.
Oh, second. Sorry, Kathleen.
It's okay. Roll call, Amy.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Vicki,
Yes.
Great. Let's reconvene the general session, and it looks like we have Lynn, at least on the phone line, if not video. Are you there, Lynn?
I am here. I'm not sure why my video is not showing up, but I can see you folks.
Oh,
At the bottom corner is your, do you have the option to start video? Bottom left.
There we go.
Hey.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I think Jonathan Eddy should be joining us shortly too.
Okay, great. We can wait for him.
Okay.
Pause for a moment and give him a minute or so to join us.
Yes.
Good morning, John. We see you, but you're muted.
there
We
you
don't
go.
see you either. Okay, perfect.
Good morning, thank you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone. I had somebody in my office, so I had the mask on.
So
Good. Thank you. We appreciate you and your safety precautions, and we are ready for our discussion of your collective bargaining agreement on our agenda this morning.
Great. So yeah, we had, what, Lynn, was it 7 or 8 bargaining sessions? And it wasn't looking so good. And the last minute kind of turned around. Last day that we spent, I think, 4 hours, and next thing you know, we had an agreement. So we're pleased because, of course, the last time we had a strike. So we obviously did not want that this time. And so we were able to settle the contract prior to the start of it, which was an accomplishment also, since the last time, I think it was over a year after the contract as well. So, yeah, so overall, we're pleased. Lynn can talk a little bit about what some of the stuff in the contract, but we didn't add anything to the base, which is what we told them we were not going to do, because they are well compensated compared to the other 88 counties, and they will be for a long time. So we just can't keep going, increasing on the base, and that's kind of what the discussion was revolving around. And so that's kind of the theme for our whole agency, as a matter of fact. Lyndon would probably be able to tell you that as well, that we're trying not to increase on that base. So,
Thank you, John. Lynn, I'd love to hear a little bit more, just because of the nature of this agreement in the past. But John, I'm very glad to hear that that's the situation. And I think that your leadership at the board has made a good impression on a lot of folks in the county, and certainly when it comes to this agreement and this relationship with these essential workers. So thank you for that.
thank you.
Lynn?
Yes, I think I sent you a document that has the basics of the tentative agreement lined out in it. Some of the high points on that are with the Janus decision, fair share fees were declared illegal. So we took that out of the contract, but did put in a provision that should Janus be overturned, we would negotiate, accordingly based on that. We also took care of some language things that you can see there, but the couple of the main things that we did were we expanded the pay steps from the current 14 to 28. The beginning step remains the same and the top step amounts remain the same, but we just expanded the time. That way it gives people a greater opportunity to get a pay increase over a period of time when they start their career with us, rather than topping out after 10 to 14 years, depending on where they start, and then have nowhere to go after that. We think that made sense, and that's more in line with what the other boards are doing, boards at ED do with their employees. We put language in the contract regarding health insurance. Previously, they had Me Too language that said they would take whatever our Unit A got. I think they wanted language in there because Unit A seems to be dwindling in size, and so they wanted to have language in there that would demonstrate, what they have. You can see that we have employees paying 12% of the premium starting in September 1 of this year. It'll go to 12.5% next year, at 13% the following year. That's in line with what other employers are doing. I'm not sure what you folks do with your employees, but other county boards and others in the Portage County Health Consortium, to which we belong, are paying 13 to 14%. The employees are contributing that amount. We want it to be in the market with those. Given COVID, we've learned that working away from the office seems to work. So when things get back to normal at some point, we did put language in the contract that would allow them to work from home up to 4 times a month. It didn't seem reasonable to fight that, since they're basically working from home all the time now.
Right.
Yeah, some of them come in a couple times a week. Some come in more often. Some come in hardly at all. So it really wasn't much of a give, we didn't feel, since they've showed that they're able to do it, right?
That's good to hear, John. We've been hearing that from our Job and Family Services staff as well, that obviously for some, it can be a challenge if you have small children at home or, other family issues. But for some, there's actually been an increase in efficiency, and, commuting takes time, and driving around. I'm sure they're still doing a fair amount of that with their clients, but I'm glad to hear that that's been your experience as well.
Yes, and just like what you said, a few of them have actually that had struggled in the office setting have done much better, maybe having less distractions or whatever the case may be. So we've been pleasantly surprised about that. Yes.
Good.
And we actually have saved some money in mileage because they're not driving around as much as they used to.
Oh, good, good. We have to look at the positive sometimes, right?
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything else, Lynn, that you wanted to highlight for us?
No, I think that pretty well covers most of it. As far as pay goes, the current employees who've been with us and are at top step or above that are getting a $1,500 lump sum payment each year of the contract. Those who have not topped out get their normal step increases. Because we doubled the steps, we kind of grandfathered in the current staff. They won't get that smaller step each year. They'll continue to get what they would normally have gotten under the terms of the old agreement. So they'll get a 2-step increase, which is equivalent to their old 1-step increase. But any new employee coming in will be on that new scale.
And the one-time lump sum payment, that was in the previous contract also. So that was an addition.
Right.
Okay.
I
Well,
move,
thank you. Thank you to both of you for your work on this, and for what I think is a turnaround with dealing with these important workers. And we appreciate what you've done here and your time today to talk to us about it as well.
Thank you. We appreciate all.
Thank you for your time today.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right, we can move the resolution.
Move that the Board of Commissioners accepts and approves a collective bargaining agreement between the Portage County Board of Developmental Disabilities and the Portage County Educators Association for the developmentally disabled unit.
I will second. Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Good to
guys.
Thank you again.
take
Bye.
care.
Bye-bye.
Good morning, Janet.
Morning.
Morning, everybody.
Hello.
And I know for my first discussion item, Susan will be joining us.
Okay, great.
I don't know if she's calling in yet.
Not yet.
I see her name.
She is.
This might be very quick because I do not have any questions for Susan yet. But
That's okay.
Susan, I hope to reserve the right to have a conversation with you over the next week and ask a few questions and pick your very expert brain about this.
We just kind of wanted to walk through open enrollment just a little bit, just to make sure that you're okay with that. In previous years, of course, we make packets, individual packet for everybody, and we will do that again this year. But in previous years, I have delivered and handed out each packet to each individual employee. So since there is the COVID, and employees do like for me to be there to give them their packet, because a lot of people don't like to read instructions. They feel more comfortable with me there helping them fill out the paperwork. And, you know, I don't.
Including all of us, of course.
But what I'd like to do under the circumstances is have the packets prepared and deliver those to a designated person in each department. Have those people pass out to their own employees, let's say just for the sheriff's department, for instance. I think they have like 265 employees. So I would give those to whoever they want to pass those out, Sherry or Ron, and they will have those people pass out those packets and sign for them. Of course, there will be a period of time that they have to do this. The individuals that want to fill out their packets on their own and feel comfortable to do that, they can do so. They will interoffice those back to me. And then if the department sees that there's a need for me to come visit, then I will let the department set up that time, limiting the amount of people and, you know, obviously going by the COVID protection standards, just so that I'm not there in a room with 30, 40 people, everybody on top of me, you know, like that. If that is okay with you. Now, obviously, you know, if you want me to proceed like I've done in years past, I would be glad to do that. But I also, since now we have the availability to do Zoom, I can let the departments also set up a Zoom meeting, which would also allow me better timeframes to meet with certain employees. Like at the sheriff's department, I was always there at 6 a.m. 2 different days, and then later in the later shifts because they have so many different shifts. But also it will depend on the departments. Some departments may want to do it a little differently than other departments because everybody, you know, works independently, you know, of everybody else. So that's kind of what I would like to do. And also, since we're not having the wellness fair, I would like to put the wellness information in the packets this year. And I usually always have very detailed instructions, but, you know, obviously I will have those in there again for people. And then people will have access to call me at any time, you know, that they need anything. And I will be available to them. Just, you know, I'm just not going to be in a room with 30 or 40.
Right.
Good.
Ms. Wise.
I think the Zoom option would be a good one to try, depending on your assessment of
Right. I
comfort
think
level.
I felt like that I would do the Zoom meetings whenever I have a group of people that maybe want to, or I can just set up some group meetings, some Zoom meetings. But like the engineers department and the sheriff's department, I don't see them utilizing that as much. Possibly jobs and family services, but again, they are divided into separate groups. You know, so I don't know how beneficial that would be, but I do think it would be a good start. As far as maybe moving towards an online enrollment at some point, you know, in the future.
I think that sounds right. I will say, I do think that there are a number of job and family workers who are remote right now. So that might be
right.
easier for them.
And as far as them having questions, you know, the forms that are going to be in the packet are the same forms that we've always used. There's not going to be any, you know, big major change that's going to intimidate people in that way. So I feel like most everybody will be comfortable. You know, there are some people, you know, the sheriff's department, they, you know, love to sit around a table for me to tell them what to put in each spot, you know, which is, they're all pretty self-explanatory, but, and I don't mind to do that. You know, if they have a way for me to Zoom in there, I'll be glad to talk to all of them. You know, I don't want to the perception to be that I'm not available to people. You know, people can call me at any time. You know, I'll walk through each person individually, you know, if they need that help. You know, I don't mind to do that, but at the same time, you know, I want to protect myself as well as, you know, coming home to my husband too, those types of things. So, you know, I've put in a lot of thought, but I'm still open to suggestions too. You know, I just want everybody to feel comfortable and that they are, you know, providing the right information on their packets and on their forms. I do see that it might be a little harder on my end this year as far as gathering the forms, since I won't be there making sure that people fill them out and hand them back to me completed at that time. So a little bit more of that responsibility will fall on the department itself. But, you know, I will keep in good contact with the departments. You know, I'll have a list, obviously, where I check them off, you know, say, for instance, oh, well, you know, you have these 3 people still have outstanding forms. Can you help me collect those? That type of thing.
Okay. I will say we did have the sheriff on a Zoom meeting at our meeting
That's good.
a couple
Okay.
of weeks ago. So
Good. Okay.
Baby
Positive.
steps.
That's-
and I know the employees appreciate this so much. So I mean, Susan, we want you to be safe.
Mhm.
And anything.
Well, I did think about making myself a plexiglass little thing to carry and go places and put myself in that, but I don't think that would work either.
A little hazmat suit from like head to
A
toe.
little hazmat suit, yes.
Well, you talk to Ryan and anything he can do. I'm sure they have some interesting options.
We can get it done.
And we just want to make sure you're safe. And there's nothing we can do as far as the time period, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Because I'm limited in my time because, well, now hopefully, because, hopefully if we can make a decision on what plan that we're going to do by October 1st, that will give me a little more leeway so that I can give individuals more time because it's the gathering and the processing on my end that's difficult. And then I have the 1095C, the federal document that, I have a time frame on that. So that's why everything is so, and I have to have all my stuff in place so that Medical Mutual can have all of their things in place by January 1st and that type thing. So time is of the essence, as far as preparing all of our packets. We have 950 packets we have to prepare. There's a lot of documentation that I have to prepare, have printed in order to even start to make the packets. So, all of those things come into play. And then we are required by law to provide certain information in those packets too. So, it's very, even though a lot of people don't think the stuff in the packet's important, but it really is. And it's important that I know that each person gets one of those packets as well. So,
Okay. If we do this next week, does that help you?
it does. That would be a tremendous help.
Okay.
If I could know, the final dollar amounts by next week, and then that way I can start some of the plan documents that, are related to that in order that has to go into the packet. That would help me a lot too. But of course, I don't want you to be pressured into making some decision that you don't feel comfortable doing either. So, but it is.
I think both Vicki and I feel comfortable moving next week. I need a little bit more time, but that'll hopefully give you a little boost.
Okay. And Todd, is an excellent resource as far as the money goes. If you want to ask my opinion about making plan changes or anything like that, I will say that employees are very grateful when there aren't plan changes. They can be a little disgruntled when there are, but I do know that, we've not had a plan change in a while, which is very good. And, there wasn't a price increase last year. So I think that they're probably expecting the worst, but would really appreciate the best as far as that goes. But, that's totally up to you, whatever's in the best interest of the county and the employee too. Another thing I'd like to bring up real quickly is that because of the COVID pandemic and the dental offices being closed, Delta Dental did give us a credit for the month of June. So I would like to at some point give the employees a holiday for dental only. And that's something that we can work with the auditor's office and with Todd to see what the best time frame is in order to do that. That just means that the employees won't have to pay for their dental for 2 pay periods in a month because, we didn't have to pay for that. And then you all are also okay with us putting the wellness information in the packet for the open enrollment. And then one other thing I would just like to touch base is I have been in contact even just as late as yesterday talking to the health department about the flu clinic. They don't have a large quantity of flu vaccines right now. And I know that they had talked earlier about doing a drive-through flu clinic. I did throw out a few options yesterday because the admin building being closed and making appointments, which would still be a little difficult, but I've also offered to work with them with the department, maybe do appointments in, say, the courthouse, for instance, or the sheriff's department, that type thing. Or possibly if we could have access to the WIC building, offices, which I assume are open to some of the public on some days, if we could just even have our flu clinic there. But then also employees can go to the health department to get their flu vaccine. And if they have medical mutual, and one of the reasons that we do the flu clinic is so that we can offer it to all employees that do not have medical mutual. You know, all employees are eligible to get the flu vaccine. But if anybody does have medical mutual, they can go to the pharmacy of their choice with their medical mutual card, and it would be of no cost to the employee to have their flu vaccine. Now, I know, you know, just watching the news, there's a lot of push to go ahead and have that now. So
Okay.
Susan, why does it matter if our building is limited access?
well, that just means that one of us would have to stand there at the door to let people in who, say, for instance, a sheriff's employee who wants to come there for the flu clinic would not be
Got
able to
it.
get in the building. So,
Okay.
you know, we would be doing the appointments, and I can just, you know, tell you, and this is just human nature. It's nothing against our employees at all, because for years we had biometric screenings was part of the wellness program. So we would set up appointments for those. And, you know, inevitably you have people who forget their appointment and they come 15 minutes late, or people who didn't make an appointment and they come.
Right.
So then we would have to deal with that type of traffic coming in the door, and then, you know, making it comfortable for the health department doing their appointments at certain times. So we could do, you know, the people who have access to the admin building, we could do a small flu clinic for those people. And then, you know, like I recommended to Rosemary yesterday, you know, then we could set up a place at the sheriff's department, you know, a 2-hour window where we could set up appointments there. And I told her that, you know, Jenna and I would be willing to make the appointments and manage those types of things. You know, we could go to the courthouse and have a flu clinic. Those, you know, there's options there.
Okay.
It'll just be up to them, you know, how they really feel comfortable administering the flu vaccines as well.
I feel like having a couple roving
I
places.
think there's a lot of options. You know, we could have a few at different buildings, and we could have some drive-through ones if they want to. I do know that this is the first year, and I guess because of, you know, the COVID and the pandemic, that people have just really been anxious to get their flu vaccine. And I understand that. My husband, every night, he's like, we've got to go get it. We've got to go get it.
I know, I'm anxious to get mine. I didn't get one last year, which is terrible. And so this year I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can imagine.
Mhm.
Okay.
Feel free to reach out to me, or, you know, through Janet, however you want, if you have any other questions, you know, about how open enrollment will look.
The one thing I have, Susan, is just thinking about, is there anything that we can do that we would not typically do that would assist you, like maybe have some type of contractual temporary, like have Willis, I don't know if they can even do this, but if they would offer us Laura or some assistance on site, or by video to help you with the open enrollment period, just because of the COVID, the difficulties that are presented, because I think that would definitely be a CARES eligible expense for us.
Well, as far as help goes, I have in the past had different people, like the people who do the optional insurances are willing to help. And I can also get medical mutual. A couple of those employees will help. It's just always been a little bit easier not to, and only because they're over here answering questions and giving advice. And then it comes back to me later. I'm like, oh, you know, who told you that? You know, I just feel like that they are just a hand handing out packets and not really given the information, you know, that they want.
Yeah.
But Jenna is a big help as far as helping me make packets, and when people turn information in, if they have questions, you know, Jenna is a big help there as well. But, you know, in the past, really all I've done is handed people their packets, and then they will ask me questions at that time, what they need to do. And then they'll usually sit at a table and then have me help them fill out the information. You know, all the information is their name, address, and social, and of their dependents. So it's not, you know, really a lot of information that goes in those packets. So the hardest time when we have open enrollment is when there's a big change, if people don't understand,
Okay.
if the deductible changes or if different things like that within the plan changes. So that's usually when it's most difficult. Now, the last few years, really all it is just giving people the time that they want in order to talk and answer questions. So, I'm if you feel like that I won't be able to get to everybody, I don't mind to have Andrea from Medical Mutual. She's always more than willing to do that. But I feel like that it'll probably be okay. The hardest part, I feel like, for open enrollment will be getting people to turn their information back into me in time.
Okay. Well, I just encourage you to think if there's anything that you can do that you
Oh,
think,
well,
I can't do that because it'll, you never thought of it before because it costs more.
Right, yeah, I know.
I don't want to say, oh, you have a blank check, but we do
Yeah,
have
I
these CARES
understand.
funds to help us.
I understand, and I do appreciate that. I do think using the Zoom a little bit more might be a little helpful, because one day I would like to go to online open enrollment. And not that I don't want to have that interaction with employees, because I think that my interaction with employees helps keep the plan what it is today, because people have that one-on-one access to me, and I want them to be able to have that always. So even if we went to online open enrollment, say, 5 years down the road, I would still be there while they do their online open enrollment for most departments. There's a lot of people that don't need me at all, hurts my feelings a little bit, but I want to be there. I want to be there for the ones that do. What'd you say?
Who are those people, Susan? I don't know yet.
I never divulge any names.
I know I'm not one of them, that's for sure.
That's okay. But, everybody knows how serious benefits are, and they want to make sure they get it right. And I get that, I understand. So.
All right. Well, Susan, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll be in touch with you offline
Okay.
in advance of next week, and we'll try to make this for you next week.
Okay.
Our meeting.
Okay. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
All right. So that wasn't quick, Janet. I'm sorry about that.
I know. It's like we're a little behind.
Yeah.
Just a little, but I'll try to speed through the rest that I have.
Okay.
The second item on my agenda is regarding the annual sick leave incentive program. And in your packet, you do have a copy of our policy. It's actually section 23, paid leaves of absence of the personal policy manual, and section J is the annual sick leave cash incentive. So you do have that in your packet. And pretty much overall, really what the incentive program is that once a year under the program, qualified employees are allowed to redeem a portion of their annual remaining sick leave for cash. And as you can see from the policy, the amount of sick leave that is cashed out, it's at a specified percentage based on the number of sick leave hours that remain for that year. So you can see on the policy, number 3 refers to the specific percentages that employees can be paid out a portion of their sick leave. And then if you look down at number 6, this is really what I'm talking about. Number 6, you'll see that there are certain forms of sick leave that are excluded from redemption. And you'll see that this includes sick leave accrued by donation, transfer from another public agency, transfer from another appointing authority, or other non-work basis. And really this year, what it comes down to, and the question that was posed to me was regarding the employees that took leave under the FFCRA. They accrued sick leave while they're using the FFCRA leave. And every employee, and I'm gonna get the correct figure that I got from the auditor's office, every employee that used FFCRA leave actually accrued 0.0575 hours of sick leave per hour of the FFCRA time that they used. Overall, normally employees would use, they would earn 4.6 hours every 80 hours of the hours served. Obviously, part-time employees would not earn that 4.6 hours because they don't work the 80 hours every 2 weeks. But that's normally what happens. A full-time employee accrues 4.6 hours of sick leave every 2 weeks for the payroll period. The question that was posed to me, and I'm coming to the board, is does the board want to allow the employees that accrued the sick leave while they're using the FFCRA, is that time eligible for redemption under the sick leave incentive program? So that's the question that was posed to me. So again, like looking at number 6 underneath the policy, number 6 includes the sick leave that could not or is not eligible for redemption. So the time that's accrued while someone's using the FFCRA, is that allowed to be redeemed for cash?
Where did that question come from?
It came from the auditor's office.
Okay.
And really, because the program it's about now, will come in October. That's usually when I approach the board, just to let you know that the time is here again for us to send the communication out to the departments that if they're eligible for this program, and there are certain qualifications that they have to meet first before they can participate in this incentive program. But if there's anybody that's interested and they're eligible for it, do they want to participate? So that's coming up. Usually October is when. So now, because the question was posed to me, I'm coming to you to see if we want that time to be eligible for redemption.
Can I ask too, on people who have used FFCRA, I'm sorry if I say that wrong,
That's
but
okay.
have they used I would assume a lot of those same employees don't have large sick leave balances.
That I would not know unless I actually look at the list of employees, but well, the FFCRA was not deducted from their sick leave. So you could have an employee that had 2,000 hours of sick leave, for example, and still take the 80 hours of the FFCRA or perhaps the FMLA for childcare underneath the FFCRA. Or you could have someone that actually had 0 hours still be eligible. So that none of that time came from sick leave.
All right, so you need us to make, this is a resolution that we would pass, or how does this decision typically get made?
What I would do is if we want to exclude the accrued sick time that employees accrued during the time they were taking the FFCRA, then I would actually do an addendum to the policy for this year, saying that any time used underneath the FFCRA is excluded from redemption underneath the policy. Normally, we don't have a resolution because this policy is already in our policy manual. I just really usually just come to you saying it's time. Are you okay with it? And then we send out the communication to the staff saying, if you're interested, let your payroll person know. But in this situation, because the policy would temporarily be changed, I would actually provide an addendum to the policy to you for review. And then that would be the resolution to adopt that addendum.
Okay. I think I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. And like you said, it's temporary, obviously.
Mhm.
So
I need a little time to process that.
Okay.
I appreciate you bringing it to our attention, especially if it's something the auditor is concerned about, but I am just not quite, I just need to think through what the right thing to do is here. It's just a tricky year with sick leave. I mean, obviously COVID impacted some of our employees, but also employees have really gone above and beyond in most cases and trying to do their essential work, many of them on site at considerable risk. And this is an opportunity to provide a bonus in some ways to our employees. So I just want to, especially, I mean, almost all of our workers are essential workers at the county, just some are on site and some are at home, but especially the ones on site, you know, who we couldn't let go home. This is a way to try to thank them for what they have done in service to our residents. So I want to think through it a little bit more and
Absolutely.
give you an answer next week if that's.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just so you know, just to kind of give you some numbers, I don't know if this means anything to you or not, but as of the last payroll period, there were 39 employees that have taken the FFCRA leave. And that was for any reason, either for themselves, because maybe perhaps they had COVID themselves, or they took it for childcare purposes because the school or daycare was closed. For any reason whatsoever, there were 39 employees. The total number of accrued hours is 163. And I think it's 162 point whatever. So it's roughly 163 hours. The most hours accrued by an employee was roughly 27 hours. And then the average hours accrued was 4 hours, roughly 4 hours. So out of the 39 employees, the average of accrued time for this entire, ever since April 1st, was 4 hours. So I don't know if that means anything to you.
Oh, it means a lot, Janet. It means a lot. It does.
Yeah, those are some numbers. And then also really just to kind of tell you the number of employees that participate in the incentive program. And again, the time, usually I believe it's the first paycheck in December, I believe is when I think they get the check. So it's perfect around the holidays. And I get the sense that employees do appreciate this incentive program because it's extra money, you know, in their pocket is around the holidays. Just to kind of give you an idea, in 2019, we had 131 employees participate in the incentive program. In 2018, we had 128 employees, and then 2017 was 108. So every year it has gone up. So more and more employees, you know, participate. And so right now this policy is in our policy manual, and I will just point out that the commissioners, if you ever want to suspend this program, you know, that's a question out there too, that, you know, the board can decide. But I personally see it as I get positive feedback from the employees that they like this, especially the ones that have a lot of sick time on the books. This is a way to get it cashed out and you'll have a little bit extra money in their pocket. So, but yeah, no, I could absolutely bring this back. This is a difficult question and answer, absolutely, to include the FFCRA time. So yeah, I'll bring it back next week.
Okay.
And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions about it, you know, feel free to let me know, or I could bring back other information for you next week as well.
Yeah, this is thorough. I just want to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 resolutions. The first resolution is regarding the temporary remote learning and childcare policy that we talked about last week. And you'll see that you also see a copy of a revised draft of the temporary remote learning and childcare leave policy in your packet. There is a line almost down the bottom of the page. You'll see a red ink. This is based on feedback from a department director to add about accommodations being at the discretion of the department director. So that has been a change since last week. So I added that one. And so if you're okay with the policy as is with additional language, then the resolution is attached to your agenda.
I think that was a good change. I think we all meant it to be in there. I did. And I was you
Yeah,
know.
and I looked back and the statement, a similar statement like that was in the original draft.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it was, yeah, it was.
Because of course,
it was
I mean,
that, it just-
yeah, directors need to have discretion and be able to run their departments and work with our staff to figure this out. So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's a good change.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I think we can move that
Okay.
today.
Board of Commissioners approves the temporary remote learning and childcare leave policy.
I'll second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
And then this second resolution that I'm bringing forward to the board, unfortunately, because of COVID, there is a shortage of poll workers this year for the Board of Elections. And it's really because of the fear and uncertainty of COVID and the safety, amongst in the pandemic. This resolution would just offer some incentives to our employees to serve as poll workers. Right now, our current election day leave policy actually requires employees, if they would like to serve as a poll worker, they do have to use their own time. They would have to take a vacation day, personal leave, or compensation or compensatory time to serve as a poll worker. So this would temporarily suspend that and allow them to decide to serve as a poll worker, and they would get paid administrative leave to serve as a poll worker. Plus they would get, if they're eligible for overtime and they work over 8 hours, they would receive the overtime. And then I think, yeah, because the last time we had something like this, I think it's back in 2012 when I did research. And so the board at that time, they elected to do something similar to this. But I think right now, really because of COVID-19, I think changed. It affected so many people in so many different ways that unfortunately there is a shortage of poll workers. So I am just bringing this resolution to the board just to consider and see what we can do for the Board of Elections.
I appreciate that, Janet. I know we've gone back and forth on this, and I appreciate your work on this. I think it has to do too with the age of poll workers. It's a long day. I think the average age of our poll workers is over 65. That coincides with the vulnerable population, and they are worried. The good news is they're doing okay with their recruitment, but there's just a concern that there may be a higher no-show rate as we get closer to the election. And if our employees are willing to step up and serve in this time, we wanted to help out and compensate them. And we are doing this as a number of other counties are also, because of the pandemic, trying to incentivize their workforce to pitch in and help. So this was modeled after, I believe, Summit County, but I know a number of other counties and cities are stepping up to do this as well. I spoke to the auditor yesterday about it, wanted to make sure that this was okay as far as auditing down the road and paying our employees. And she said, yes, she was comfortable with it. And in fact, she is also doing this with her employees. I checked with the Board of Elections just to make sure, they needed this, and they actually have a policy for county officials that are on the ballot that their workers cannot serve as poll workers in that election. But for us, I believe that only applies to the clerk. Amy, so you're off the hook if you were thinking about being a poll worker, or to Julie or Judy, but the rest of the Board of Commissioner departments would be eligible. And then the auditor is not on the ballot in 2020. So all of the county staff that would be eligible are under if we pass this resolution, that would be able to do it. So I think the next step would be, I'd like to pass this today, but then let's do some outreach and let our employees know that, we encourage them to consider this, and with that, the incentive with the pay to do so. And let's just try to get through this presidential high turnout, usually election, with all hands on deck approach, and looking out for our vulnerable population. So I'm sure we'll be willing to serve again when the circumstances change, but let's see if some of our employees are willing to step up where it makes sense. And of course, we have the language about it has to work in the department, and we can't have our essential staff not on site if they need to be, but let's try to encourage folks to participate if they can. And thanks for your work on this. So we're ready to go today, I believe. Is that
Yes.
okay with you, Vicki and
I'm
Janet?
a worker.
Okay. I know you are. I know you're signed up.
All right.
Glutton for punishment, Vicki, with those long hours. Thank you.
Move that the Board of Commissioners encourage Portage County employees to serve as precinct election officials amid the COVID-19 pandemic, and to authorize Commissioners Department directors to allow employees to serve during the November 3rd, 2020 general election.
I will second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes. All right.
And lastly, I just have 2 resignations on my agenda.
Okay.
Move that the Board of Commissioners accepts the resignation of Helene Papsoon, Program Officer for Portage County Job and Family Services, effective September 25, 2020.
Second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicky.
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners accepts the resignation of Noah Lazier, Quality Assurance Officer for Portage County Job and Family Services, effective September 23, 2020.
Second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. Thank you, Janet.
That's it. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, Joanne. Sorry, we're running behind. We're ready for you.
That's okay. The first resolution I have is on behalf of the county engineer. Needs to have some work done on the Hankey Road Culvert project in Freedom Township, and wants to utilize the services of an engineering firm in Ohio, the E.L. Robinson firm, to do some engineering services for him at the cost of $49,773.67.
Move that the Board of Commissioners accepts the proposal of E.L. Robinson Engineering of Ohio and enter into agreement for providing professional design services for the Hankey Road TH224 culvert project in Freedom Township, Portage County.
Second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Okay, next one is another child support enforcement 4D contract. This time it's for services by the Domestic Relations Court Magistrate at $163.45 per hour that they do work for Job and Family Services. And it's the term of the agreement goes from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th of 2021.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into an agreement between the Portage County Child Support Enforcement Agency and Portage County Domestic Relations Court Magistrate Services.
Second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Okay, the next 3 resolutions are a product of proposals that we did earlier in the year for Title 20 services. The first one is for adult daycare services that Job and Family will use the Coleman Professional Service Department for. They only received one proposal under that particular Title 20 service. This is for services October 2020 through September 2021 at a cost of $98,389.98.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into a sub-grant agreement for Title 20 Adult Day Services between the Board of Commissioners on behalf of Portage County Job and Family Services and Coleman Professional Services, DBA Coleman Adult Day Services.
Second, roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Okay, the next one is for Title 20 Adult Protective Case Management Services. We only received one proposal under this particular service request from Family and Community Services. This is going to go from October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021 at a cost of $29,149.91.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into an agreement for Title 20 Adult Protective Case Management between the Board of Commissioners on behalf of Portage County Job and Family Services and Family and Community Services.
Second, roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Okay, and then the last one is for Title 20 Geriatric Mental Health Counseling Services. This is for adults age 60 or over, which I fall into that category. Again, for October 1st through September 30th of 2021, we received two proposals. The best one received was from Family and Community Service at a cost of $13,229.56.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into an agreement for Title 20 Geriatric Mental Health Counseling between the Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Portage County Job and Family Services and Family and Community Services, Inc.
Second, roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Okay, that's it for me. One
Thank you.
last thing, go Browns.
Yes.
Go Browns. Take care.
Take care.
Good morning,
Good
Sue.
morning.
Morning, Sue.
How are ya?
Good.
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. I'll make it short and sweet. I've got two this morning. The first transfer is for our 4D contract payments that were made in the month of August, domestic court for April, prosecutor for June, clerk of court for June, and juvenile court for May and June of 20 services.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to transfer $7,439.45 from Fund 0001 General Fund to Fund 1414 Child Support Administration.
Sorry, second. Roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Okay, and then the second one is our regular shared transfer from the Child Welfare Fund to Public Assistance Fund to help pay for shared costs, payroll and such, in the amount of $160,000. This is for the third quarter state fiscal year 2020 payment number 2.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to transfer $160,000 from Fund 1415 Child Welfare Special Levy to Fund 1410 Public Assistance Fund.
Second, roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes. Thank you, Sue.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good day.
You too. Is that you on the line, Todd?
Yeah, I assume you got the bill run in the email. There's, while it was a heavier volume, that's not out of the ordinary. It was the upper end of normal. There's nothing else really worth commenting on.
Okay. Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, September 17, 2020 bills, ACH payments as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second, roll call, Amy.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, September 17, 2020 wire transfers for health benefits as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second, Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, September 17, 2020 journal vouchers as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second, roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, September 17, 2020 then and now certification as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second, roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes. Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
Have a good day.
You too.
Oh, Todd's there twice. Todd Peets.
I feel that one will be Lisa,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know. You guys are both Todds are muted and no video.
There we go. I'm here.
Okay.
Yay!
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. I don't know why we have two of you, but let's just carry on.
Because I don't have any audio or a mic on my, well, excuse me, I don't have a camera on my, or a mic on my computer, so I use my cell phone. But to see you guys better, I use my big screen computer. And,
Oh.
and when people share documents, I can't see it on my cell phone, but I can see it really well on my computer. So everybody makes fun of me for using two screens, but I just feel special. So
Okay.
anyway,
That you are.
so good morning, everybody.
Good morning. We're ready for you guys.
Okay, so we have a real simple one. Back in June, we submitted the 2020 CDBG grant on behalf of the county commissioners, and it was approved. And what we have before you today is a resolution to agree to enter into the contract with the state of Ohio for the 2020 CDBG allocation. So it's really simple.
Okay. Move that the Board of Commissioners accepts the Ohio Development Services Agency Office of Community Development for its 2020 CDBG Community Development Allocation Program Funds.
I will second. Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes. Thank you, Todd and Lisa, especially for all of your work on this.
Can I ask to get one plug in before we go?
Sure.
And so the one plug is we have the downtown district plan in Ravenna, and I know they'd like to invite the commissioners. We're just trying to figure out how to make that happen. I think it would just be a Zoom meeting. They would be recorded, but on October 2nd, which is a Friday, and I don't know if the time has been determined yet, we'd like to invite all three commissioners to see what the consultant's been doing on that project for downtown Ravenna. But that project also includes the county property all the way down to the railroad tracks, basically, including the admin building, et cetera. So we just want to make sure you guys are in the loop and invite you and let you know you're welcome to participate and see what's been happening. So,
Do you have the time on that, Todd? October 2nd, at what time?
I don't have the time because I think we're still making sure that the city council the Ravenna City Council can also attend. So that's the October 2nd date is a tentative date, but I think it's a date that's going to be used. So as soon as I get time, I will let you know, obviously, but I just want to get it on your radar. This is my purpose of mentioning it to you today.
All right.
And that,
Thank you.
In-person gathering with all those people?
I'm sorry? No.
Is it an in-person gathering?
No, it's going to be a Zoom meeting. Everything's going to be Zoom.
Oh.
And so, but they're inviting all the city council and they want to invite the county commissioners and any other stakeholders who are involved in that project. So anyway, I just want to let you know what's happening. And I also have been in touch with Jean and with Amy to make sure that we're not violating sunshine and everything's on the up and up. And I think we're just working through that right now.
Is it just a presentation of information?
The presentation of information to you guys, but I mean, again, it involves your properties. The county commissioners own. So there may be voting in the future on what to do with some of that stuff. So I just want to make sure that there's no violations of any kind.
Well, if it's a presentation to us and we're not active participants, we're just listening to a presentation, that's the sunshine issue for us.
Yeah, yeah. There's no voting. You're not voting on anything. You're just hearing information. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be extra cautious, you know. I was like running into stuff and saying, "Ooh, let's go."
Well,
then,
you have the same issue with the city council and a majority of their members.
Exactly.
So if, as long as it's a presentation, that's okay. But if you're looking for a back and forth and a conversation, that's different. So that's,
Well,
those
yeah,
would be-
I'm not sure if there's gonna be a conversation. I think based on the way they're doing it, you can ask questions and the council can ask questions and maybe there's a conversation via that route, but I don't think there's any negotiations or any spending of funds at that presentation.
Well, what might work better in that case, if you're wanting deliberating by the boards, both of them, then I think it would be coming to the meeting of the commissioners, which, you know, our meetings aren't on Friday. I doubt that's when city council is either, but that would be the way to do that. And we can certainly consider adding to our agenda at a future meeting.
Okay. Okay, we get into deliberations. So I think, they've talked to the public before, you know, and so they've kind of come up with some great concepts. And I think they just want to bounce these great concepts of what they want to do off of both the city council and you guys, just to make sure you're in the loop on that and you're not out of the loop on that. And so they know that they're on the right track also going forward. But I don't think there's any obligation of any funding or anything like that at this point at all.
Okay. Well, we just have to be careful with how we do that. And it sounds like what you're talking about may be treading into a public meeting.
Right.
So if we have to think of how we do that, where you come before our board and present like we have people do at our meetings, then that option can be explored. So we can talk offline about that.
Yep.
Thanks for that plug.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thanks for everything you do.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Jean, why don't we quickly do the miscellaneous items on our agenda, if that's okay? Is that
And
okay?
there's also 3 resolutions from Water Resources.
Can we start with the miscellaneous and then close out with water resources?
Move that the Board of Commissioners approve the September 10, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second. Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners accepts the donation to the Office of the Portage County Dog Warden.
Second. Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of the September 8, 2020 certificate of the county auditor that the total appropriations from each fund do not exceed the official estimate resources for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2020, as presented by the Portage County Auditor's Office.
Second. Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes. Okay, let's now go over to water resources.
Okay, there's really no explanation on these. These are just,
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
There are actually 3 different individuals who have requested to take advantage of the time tap that the commissioners afford new customers. So that's what they're about. Each one of them is in the same amount, $5,580.
move that the Board of Commissioners approves a request from David and Karen Neuschutz for installment payments of connection charges for connections to the sanitary sewage system in the Portage County Regional Sewer District and establishing the terms and conditions of the same.
I will second. Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners approves a request from Timothy and Autumn O'Connor for installment payments of connection charges for connections to the sanitary sewage system in the Portage County Regional Sewer District and establishing the terms and conditions of the same.
Second, roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners approves a request from Mark and Pamela Kearns for installment payments of connection charges for connections to the sanitary sewage system in the Portage County Regional Sewer District and establishing the terms and conditions of the same.
Second, roll call, Amy?
Vicky.
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Motion to enter into executive session under Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G1 to discuss the dismissal of a public employee.
I will second, roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.